So yeah, I'm Rocio. I'm one of the two co-founders of Bidhaa Sasa, and the business is a business rather than a project. Let's be precise. It's a last mile distribution company that has a presence today in rural Kenya and a small presence in rural Uganda. And last mile distribution means we physically go to the last mile, i.e., where people live in the rural areas, and we offer them a range of products that have the potential to increase their quality of life. And as we are dealing with rural families, we are particularly focusing on women's needs. The women in the rural areas are the ones who stay behind. They don't have formal jobs necessarily in the cities, whereas the husbands have jobs in the cities and they travel, they commute back and forth. The women tend to stay behind. They are in charge of managing the farm and the family, and the living conditions mostly are really primitive. They are really like basic stuff. They still don't have electricity. They don't have clean water. They're still cooking on the floor with biomass, which is awful. And the farm's yields and the productivity of the farms are really low because they don't have, they don't really invest in the proper seeds or fertilizers or the machinery that they would need to get more out of the farm. So living conditions in general are really bad, and they are rural. So that's where we are. This is the physical target of Bidhaa Sasa. And so far, so since we started in Bidhaa Sasa in Kenya in 2015, so we've been operating almost 7 years now. And we offer them a range of products that help them with the day-to-day life. Mainly three categories: lighting products, solar lighting products for the home, cooking appliances, so efficient cook stoves, gas for cooking, and other appliances. And then the last one is agricultural equipment for the farm. So it's small tools and things that they can use in the farm to get to improve a little bit the yields. So those are three things that we are offering today. And what we do, and the way we do it is, one of the things to make these products more accessible, you need to make them more affordable. So one of the main barriers of being a rural farmer, male or female, is your income is by definition quite low. So you have to make these products, which are relatively expensive to them, more affordable. And one of the things how we do that is by offering them credit. So we manage the credit ourselves, and we give them anything between 6 months, 12 months to pay for the product. So that's one way we address the price issue. And then the second part of the bottlenecks of why these products don't reach the people that need them is because the women are not that, they don't really have time to go shopping around. They don't really have the money to go shopping. They don't have the mobility to go shopping. You have to hire a motorbike to go somewhere and so forth. So they are very skeptical about innovation. So that's one of the main barriers. The lack of trust on innovations is one of the main barriers to, when somebody is launching something cool that could have a really big impact. But if the user doesn't trust it because never seen it, why would I, right? Why would I risk $50 in something that I've never seen in my life? So to overcome that, the way we operate is very much traditional door-to-door selling, but within a group. So I don't know if you remember Tupperware, the 1950s Tupperware model, where the ladies organized those parties at home. So we mimic that. We work together with, we call them leaders because they are leaders in the communities. We work together with certain women who have a leadership role already in the communities. This is nothing to do with income or education, by the way. They are just people that are there organizing things, and they're already naturally well networked. We work together with them, and they help us to create the awareness, and they create the trust that these products need, because they are the first time use. They are the early adopters, so they will buy the new stuff at home, and then they make demonstrations, and they go to the friends and they say, hey, this is brilliant. You can also buy the stuff if you join my group. And then everything we do everything we do is with groups of people. So every person that has bought from us belongs to a group. And I think that is very, it suits the women a lot because you are not on your own. So you are kind of reducing the risk of taking, the risk they are taking, investing in a technology that I've never seen. That's reduced because other people are doing it together with me. And then it helps them as well to go through the discovery journey. Oh, how does this work? What about the warranty? What do I need to do if something goes wrong? What if I don't have the money to pay, right? You are in a group, and the group, theoretically and in practice, it does happen, helps you. If you, this month I cannot pay because something happened, the idea is that the people in the group will help you. So everything we do is through groups. The credit, the marketing, awareness, education, everything. And I think for the women in particular, this works really well, because if you are a rural smallholder farmer in Kenya, you already have very strong social networks. This is the analog Facebook equivalent, right? This is, your neighbors, your family, you belong to the church, you belong to the savings group. The social networks of the women in particular, the men exist, but it's a bit weaker because they commute, they travel, so they are less present in the village. But within the same community in a rural area, the networks are very, very strong. So all we are doing is piggybacking on those, and we are promoting the products through those existing networks. And that's really the magic sauce of our, what do you call it, gender innovation. And it's literally designed because of what we observe is already happening. It's called social capital, and the rural women in many parts of the world are very rich on social capital. One of the things that everybody goes like, oh my God, you are selling on credit to people don't have any money. True. We are selling on credit products which are relatively expensive to them. Income levels are really low. Really, we are talking $1,000 a year per family. So it is really, really low. So you cannot really say, hey, spend $50 in a cook stove because it's a lot of money. But if you spread the $50 over 6 months, and it saves you a lot of money because you are not using as much charcoal as before, it makes sense. So first thing everybody says, you guys are crazy. These women don't have salaries. They don't have formal incomes. They are poor. They don't have collateral. All of the above is true. They don't have collateral. They don't have, title deeds. They don't have a regular salary. They have multiple sources of income, all of them volatile. And if you ask them how much you earn, they don't even know, because today I earn, tomorrow I don't. So we completely ignore all of those prejudices that work against the women, and we focus on the positive side, which is they are rich in social capital. So provided that the group is aware that they are in it together, they naturally select the people that they want to work with within the group. Therefore, we have very good repayment rates. We have a 98% success rate on repayments. And that is what most people, as a success measure, is very tangible, and is the one that, when we say that we sell products on credit, is the one that people straight away say, oh my God, they are not going to pay you because they are poor. But it's not true. So they do pay on time. Well, I think one of the problems with innovation, or the adoption of innovation, is distribution. So it's all very good to invent gadgets in the lab, products or services, especially if you are coming from the Western world. But another thing is to make them commercialized and make them adopted at a large scale. That's a completely different story. You may have the best product in the planet Earth, but nobody buys it. Even if you make them free, nobody uses it. So distribution is a classic bottleneck in terms of the innovation, the diffusion of innovation. And together with David, we wanted to focus exclusively on the distribution. So we are pretty agnostic in terms of the innovation itself. Is it to do with lighting or water or cooking or energy or agricultural or whatever. We are pretty agnostic on that one. There's a lots of problems that we could be solving through innovations, but the distribution is what we are focusing on. And I think there's a massive opportunity there, especially in rural areas, especially for women, because the women are the ones that are the main users of most of these devices that people are inventing in the labs, although they haven't really realized. They still think that the man is the main earner, therefore I need to sell this product to the men because they are the ones with the money. And it's completely wrong, because the men are not doing the cooking. So they are not going to buy the stove. So the business opportunity for me is a no-brainer. And the fact that the social networks are so strong amongst the women is like, okay, there is a need to bring in these products to them, and there is a way of bringing these products to them because of the existing social networks. There is a huge divide in many developing countries. You go to central Nairobi and you feel like you are like in London. You have your Starbucks and the equivalent. So then you travel 2 kilometers away from the main road and you are in deep rural areas with electricity, water, sanitation, and everything else. So what we have seen in the last decades is that there has been a lot of economic growth in many parts of the world, right? Which is good, 5%, growth year on year, on and on and on for decades is great, but it's not evenly distributed. And we see it all the time. We see the cities growing, paved roads, airports, whatever. But the countryside, which is where 70% of the people live, are left behind. Infrastructure doesn't get there. The grid, electricity grid doesn't get there. Water doesn't get there, and so on. So it's a bit of especially David, he's more fired about injustice. So he really cares about addressing that imbalance of opportunities. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, since day one, we invested a lot in collecting data because I care and I don't want to. I'm very aware of my own biases. I'm sitting in London in my nice house. I don't cook on the floor for 3 hours every day. So since day one, I was very aware of the falling in the trap of, trying to solve other people's problems when I don't even have those problems. So to avoid that trap and, overlay my assumptions or my prejudices, we've been investing on collecting data from the source, from feedback from real clients with real transactions since day one. Obviously, is gender or sex disaggregated, obviously, but in the same way that is product disaggregated and location disaggregated and manager disaggregated, you slice and dice the data as you see fit, because to me, all of those are important. They are where people live, from climate to location to income to the manager of the team, all those things matter. And one ingredient is definitely gender. What I do try to avoid is to extrapolate too much and from the data that I see make wider assumptions of individuals' behavior. So you would not hear from me things like women are better payers than men, although the data will say that, right? Because I hate when people extrapolate and they make assumptions about me based on my gender, right? I really dislike it. So I don't feel that's fair, because there will be men that do pay well, right? So I don't like doing that kind of extrapolation and generalizations. I think is not a good way to solve these gender imbalances. It just exacerbates a little bit the divisions between the genders, and I just don't like it. I don't do that kind of thing. So I'm very careful with presenting my results. Yes, my clients which are female tend to pay better than my clients which are male, but I stop there. I cannot say that is because intrinsically women are better than men. I can't say that, and many people do, right? That's those extrapolations I dislike. I don't really know what it means. I assume that it's innovations that care about solving problems from a gender point of view, right? If a group which you classify under this gender suffers from this problem, I don't know, the men may be suffering from mental health issues, then you may bring an innovation that deals with that for the men, for that particular target market. Who knows? That would be my naive definition of what gender innovation is, but I have no idea where you're coming from, to be honest. One of the things I tend to, just to provoke a little bit, if I'm invited to a conference and there's something about gender, because most of my clients are women, one of the things I tend to say just to balance things out is not just necessarily, I definitely care about women's needs because they are the ones that present the market opportunity, they have the networks, and nobody else is doing it. So, you know, we have everything to win there. But one of the things I like to say is that don't necessarily write off the men's, right? For example, and I always give this as an example, although 75% of my clients are women, within the different products that we sell, there's a slight variation, not massive. We don't have like 10% this or 90% of that, but there are slight variations. And the product that is more balanced in terms of gender is the gas for cooking. You know, a gas cylinder that you cook, you can cook at home with gas, which in the rural areas is still a novelty, believe it or not, but it's still emerging, right? It's like, whoa, now we are like cooking like in the cities. And I really like that as an example of, yes, I do care about the women, but I also care about addressing gender discrimination. Let's not forget that we are where we are because of the intrinsic discrimination that women have faced for centuries and millennia, right? And it would be really nice if we go slightly further into, yes, we care about the women's needs, but what about also caring about addressing or redressing the balance? And my example is the gas. The gas is a really good example of addressing the balance. Why is that? Because the gas can be used by men. A man is not going to spend 3 hours cooking on the floor with sticks. I can tell you that. It's horrible, takes a long time, it's really not really nice experience. And they say, no way, I'm not going to do it. And they don't do it. But if you give them the right tools, right? Something that is instantaneous, it doesn't smell, I can afford it, I can use it. My client said, I'm so happy because since I bought the gas, even my useless husband can prepare breakfast, right? That is where we need to be. I would like to have a company where 50% of my clients are men and 50% of my clients are women, right? Because that would reflect society as a whole, or 52-48, okay? Because rural areas, there are more women than men, but that's not the case, right? And the only product I can say we are going towards balance is the gas, because it's a technology that is gender neutral. Why is it gender neutral? Because it's easy, instantaneous, it's clean. Even my useless husband can use it, right? That's where we should be going. But we tend to forget that, right? And we are still talking about, I sell lots and lots of stoves, all of them to women. The men are not going to be cooking with stoves. It's a pain, the charcoal, the lighting, the smokes, So yeah, I do wonder in your gender innovations, if you are talking about gender in the sense that we belong to different buckets, or we are moving away from the buckets and trying to address the discrimination and making sure that the men are also contributing to the household chores. Why are we taking the role as they are? Why are we not, contesting, or why are we not going back to the first question and say, are we really happy with these roles? The women staying at home, doing all the childcare, doing all the home care, doing all the cooking and the cleaning and the lagging and this and that, and they don't have opportunities to have a proper job out there because they don't even have time to have a proper job out there. It's not because they don't want to or are not educated. They don't even have the time. They have so many things to do. So why are we not addressing that, gender imbalance with our innovations instead of doing the small change. Oh, let's give them a stove that cooks faster and cleaner, right? And they don't have to spend 3 hours cooking, but only 1 hour cooking. Okay, yeah, okay, it's a factor 3 improvement. We are moving in the right direction, but where are the men?